It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. If you're finding me on the air for the first time, this is a daily show on each and every weekday here on 1250 Wins WHNZ, and it's a business variety show. It's something different each and every morning as I talk to the many different professionals, entrepreneurs, and political and civic leaders in our community about what they're doing in our area to make a difference. The show also available on demand over on tampabayradio.com. So if you get a moment, please help support the show by visiting tampabayradio.com. We've also been making some changes to the site. So if you haven't been there for a while, we have made some changes over there as well. And also please help support the show partners and guests by visiting the guest network tab on the homepage and the preferred partners link on the homepage as well. Also, please connect with me on all the different social media sites, facebook.com/That Business Show, and also Twitter under Jamie_Maloney. Well, I got a great show planned for you today. Got one guest in studio, so we'll be talking with him throughout the hour. And so let's go ahead and bring him in right now. Mike Bosch is an entrepreneur and an inspiring author. After a stint in stand-up comedy, Mike found his calling as a speaker. Today he is in studio to discuss the correlation between how we deal with challenges in our lives and the effect it has on our lives on a personal and professional level. Mike, welcome to the program today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Mike, you're originally from Baltimore, right? You're not a Florida native, correct?
No, I'm. I don't know that most people from Florida are.
There's not too many. No, I'm a West Virginia transplant myself.
Oh, are you? Okay, well, I'm from
18
Baltimore,
years.
So we won't go into the whole West Virginia thing.
So you're not originally from Florida. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, like so many of the listeners, I grew up in a really good home, but I lived in a very scary place. I grew up in Baltimore City, just outside of the city, and we lived near this river. It was called Back River. And when you're a child, you have some really fond memories of some things you did in your childhood. And one of the great memories I have was swimming in the warm waters of Back River, which is the river that flowed into the bay. And we used to meet my three cousins, and really goof off in that river. And the reason why the river was warm was at the end of the river was a raw sewage treatment plant.
I was going to say, that had something to do with sewage.
We weren't aware of that. And, it was just one of those things.
Yeah,
But-
and just, it's like, I miss that too about West Virginia is, you could get into the rivers and the lakes. You can't here in Florida or else you're going to get some type of, dysentery or some amoeba inside you. It's going to eat your brain or something, that flesh-eating stuff out there.
Breathe air in here.
Yeah, no. So that's the nice thing about being up in the Northeast there. You can get into the waterways and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead, continue your story.
No, that's fine. We had my cousins and my dad and his family. We would all meet at the river and, water ski and goof off and have a really good time. My grandfather actually my grandfather passed down a business to my father and his sister. So obviously when you go into business together, the family gatherings begin to fade. My three older cousins, we kind of drifted apart because they were older. They went to work for the family business, which sold restaurant and bar supplies, to the industry. And the business was the real deal. They had multiple trucks. It had loading docks. We were just forklifts, really had good things going. And my three cousins worked there. In 1982, man, I thought I was the coolest kid on the earth because I got myself a worker's permit. And I went to work for the family business. And I was really excited because I became connected with the three older cousins that I used to swim in the Back River with, which was really a nickname for the river because it was, really fed by a sewage treatment plant.
Right. Luckily, you didn't come out with any diseases or anything from
exactly.
that. So.
But I began to work at the family business with my three older cousins, but except now they were, heavy partiers. And I began to we had this giant walk-in box that was located on one of the back docks there. And it kept perishable salad dressings and horseradish and all that good stuff. And even though cold beer was not in our catalog, and that walk-in was full of it. So I'm 14 years old, and I began to dabble and sneak a beer, here and there. And for you know it, I began to sneak more, and for you know it, I was binge drinking. Out behind the walk-in box, they have, you might have seen this before, but they have big fuse boxes, that operate these walk-in boxes. Well, when you flipped open that fuse box, there was always a bag of weed and a pipe full in there, and I began to hit on that, and before you know it, I was a stoner.
A little alcohol and little drugs. I mean,
and it gets better than that, buddy.
Really, yeah. In your defense, though, up in that area, there wasn't a whole lot to do when we were younger and stuff.
No, especially when it was cold.
Yeah, a lot of my friends used to partake in little alcoholic beverages, but you took it to the next level, though, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and continue your story.
Yeah. So we were really busy, and we would load trucks at nighttime, and I got introduced to this little white powder. And it made me feel real energized and awake. And it wasn't too long afterwards that, I was putting my whole paycheck up my nose and, sometimes in my lungs.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really difficult times. And they had in the warehouse, they had this bathroom, and the wallpaper, it was all over the bathroom. It was nothing but Playboy centerfolds and pictures from various porn magazines. Here I am, 14 years old, not even out of high school, and I'm surrounded by drugs and alcohol and sex. And I was really completely out of control. My teachers, they would pass me with the lowest passing grade possible because they knew if they failed me, they had to see me again the following year. And it was really difficult. I was a total menace to society. So the 90s came around, and I met this petite little blonde girl, and she was in nursing school. I think, okay, it's a step in the right direction, I'm growing up a little bit. After she got out of school and graduated, she went to work into a hospital. And back then, I don't know if you remember, that pain medication wasn't regulated like it is today.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone who was in the hospital rejected a shot of morphine for pain, she would just check that little box and put the needle in her purse. So she came home and she began shooting me and a couple friends up with the morphine. And it basically put us into a heroin state. And that led to more issues, and we began she began writing prescriptions. And we'd go out and buy pain medication. I'd put fake casts on, and we had a pair of
So you made your
crutches
transition from alcohol to marijuana to cocaine. Now you're on the morphine, which led to heroin. So you're running the whole gamut of drugs here.
Yeah, absolutely. At a very young age.
Okay.
And it was very difficult. We used to have this. Actually, it's still there. It was a place called Duke's Motel. Now you may have seen this before if you're going up I-75, and you're driving along and your eyes are playing tricks on you and you're real tired and you see this motel, and you pull off and the outside of it looks really good. And you put your key card in, you open up the door, and it's got that smell of, smoke and mold. And, they took this cheap air freshener and tried to, really fill the room up, and the carpet's all black.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like a 4-star hotel compared to this Duke's Motel place. It was a complete dive, but we would put our money together and we would party at Duke's Motel. We'd fill the tub up with, beers and ice, and we would just, party to all kind of crazy drugs all night long. And one day the sun was coming up and nobody had been to bed, and the show Jeopardy was on. And I think all of us combined halfway through the show, we got like one answer right. We're like, we got one right. We're not so dumb after all. But Duke's Motel at that time had free HBO. So here we're living good. And we put the movie on, and it was Shawshank Redemption. Now, you may be familiar with Shawshank Redemption.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a great, great movie. And if you're not, it's about this guy who gets wrongly convicted of killing his wife and her lover, and he sentenced to 2 life terms for the crime that he actually didn't commit. But he befriends a person in that prison who helps him through the hard times, and that character is played by Morgan Freeman. And there's a part in that movie where Morgan Freeman says, "It's time to get busy living or get busy dying."
Gotta get busy. Say that a little more clear. Say, yeah, gotta get busy living or get busy dying, right?
Yep, exactly.
You gotta get busy living or get busy dying. It's a great quote. I know exactly
it really
what you're
is.
saying.
And those 12 words really changed my life because, I was happy on the outside. I was living on the outside, but the inside I was dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I really couldn't understand why I was here and what was my purpose and why did I even
So a quote changed.
Here.
So you're saying a quote changed your life then? That was your kind of, I guess, your rock bottom moment, so to speak? Wow. So something as simple as a quote from a movie inspired you to change your life. Let me take a quick middle of the hour break, but coming back from the break, I want to talk a little bit more with Mike Bosch about his transition out of drugs into the life of an entrepreneur and a professional speaker now. And you can learn more about him over at cgreencomedy.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305. Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Crash on the Cody Campbell Causeway has eastbound lanes still blocked at McMullen Booth, so you will not be able to get out onto the causeway. They will send you southbound on the Bayside Bridge or northbound on McMullen Booth. Actually, northbound on McMullen Booth through Safety Harbor and Oldsmar may be your better bet. Southbound Bayside jammed from Gulf to Bay all the way to Almerton, and then, of course, the Howard Franklin Bridge jammed almost to the Pinellas County side. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Robitussin. Robitussin soothes your throat and delivers fast, powerful cough relief. Available in Robitussin DM Max, Robitussin 12-Hour Cough Relief, and Robitussin CF Max Severe Multi-Symptom. Robitussin, because it's never just a cough.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds and warmer than usual, high 78. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 61. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and even warmer, high 80.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Each weekday morning at 8 a.m. here on 1250 Wins WHZ. And you can learn more about the program over at TampaBayRadio.com. I'm currently talking with Mike Bosch. He is a professional speaker and entrepreneur. And Mike, you're sharing a great story with us, in which just a simple quote from Shawshank Redemption by Morgan Freeman: "Get busy living, get busy dying," inspired you to make changes in your life. So tell me, what was the next step after that? How did you evolve after that?
Well, I hated everything about me, and I knew I had to change. And it was very easy for me to blame everybody else. It was easy to blame my cousins who, had the drugs and the alcohol readily available. It was easy to blame the nurse, who introduced me to the needles of morphine. But at that time, I had to realize I had to accept responsibility for me. But that was really hard because I didn't know how to do that. But in order to do that, I knew I had to move forward. And Jamie, we see this in business all the time, because business people, it's real easy to blame your competition. It's real easy to blame your boss. It's real easy to blame the market. It's real easy to blame your deliveries. But when you're trying to succeed in business and you're making all those excuses, 9 out of 10 times, if you really look at the overall picture, what really needs to be changed is who?
Yourself.
It's
Yourself.
us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really need to change if we want to see, lots of success.
Yeah, and it's actually a point that I hold dear and dear to my heart, and my ethic is what my father taught me at a young age, and was not to complain and not to blame others. Because back then when I was a young kid, it was all about baseball, and I was always making excuses of why I didn't want to practice baseball. And every time I made an excuse or I blamed somebody else, he shut it down. He didn't want to hear it, and it's it's a trait that I've carried throughout life, and it's something, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's been ingrained inside of me. And I think that's one of my keys to success is I don't blame other people, and people that know me know that I'm not a complainer. I'm really not. So
acceptance is the key.
Yeah, exactly.
And then moving forward.
Correct.
Yeah, you have to. You have to be accountable for what you've done, but that's very difficult. When you've spent your pretty much your entire life, depending on others and.
So how did you make the transition then? Talk to me about the next steps. I mean, here you are still, struggling with addiction. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't just a light switch that you flipped off, was it? I mean, you still had to go through withdrawal and, removal from, that lifestyle. Talk to me about this.
Well, the hardest part, Jamie, was dealing with the guilt and shame. It's people don't realize, okay, well, it's easy. Well, it's not easy, but to just change and to go to, Alcohol Anonymous or, rehab or whatever the case may be to help you get through those times is key to success. But the major impact is the shame and the guilt that you experience because, it hurt so many people. I wrecked a lot of vehicles, was going through girls, job from job. And
so this shame and guilt that you say you experienced from the removal from this situation, you didn't have those same feelings when you were using the drugs and the alcohol? You didn't feel shame and guilt while you were on them?
That probably made them use more.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to understand.
Well, you're numb. And when you did feel the shame and the guilt, you just picked it up.
Buried
it. Picked it up. So
that's how you dealt with it.
So you went through this extreme shame and this guilt, but did you go cold turkey? I mean, were you able to cut off the drugs and the alcohol 100%, or was there a transitional period here?
There was a very long transitional period.
Okay. Talk to me. How long did the transition go on, and how did you battle through this?
Well, it's really no certain time frame. It kind of went up and down, and it was the big problem. And I don't know if you've ever, some of our listeners may have, and you may have too, dealt with any bouts of shame and guilt, but if you have, it can be paralyzing. It can really be a tough struggle, and there was no really 10-step program for ditching the past. And to me, that was very scary because the things that you did in your past, that's what fueled what you were trying to do for recovery. I have a famous saying, well, it's not famous, but I have a saying now that the only time I look back is when I put the car in reverse, because you cannot change what happened in the past. You can only look forward, because if you look at the past, that's when the shame and the guilt is just inside your heart, just rubbing the hands together, saying, "Okay, here we go. We're back into it."
And was
again.
this still all up in Baltimore? You still hadn't made to Florida, right? So
this is all still in Baltimore. But I'd wake up in the morning and I'd put my feet on the floor, and I already knew it was going to be a bad day. And you may have experienced this yourself, and I'm sure our listeners have. You ever have when you wake up and you're like, "Oh, going to be a rough day," Sure enough, it was. Mm-hmm. As soon as my feet would hit the floor in the morning, I knew it was going to be a rough day, and it always was. And I began to keep a journal, and every time I had a thought or a feeling of guilt and shame, it didn't matter where I was, what I was doing, what I was thinking. I wrote it down. And what I realized from reviewing my journal was my mind was sort of like this little box, and it would trigger these patterns that would feed thoughts and actions that would try to send me back to the addictions.
Yeah, that's personal inventory.
Mm-hmm. Right, to make you feel better, to escape those thoughts and those issues that you're facing every day.
So basically you're taking a hard, strong look at yourself and your actions.
Yep, exactly. So I reviewed my journal, and when I finally realized the things that were going on in this little computer box that was in my head, I really began to evaluate it. And what I realized was every morning when I woke up, I was turning on the Idiot Box to look for some Box News network that was airing some sort of a crisis. And trust me, I didn't have to look far. I would pack the same stupid box lunch every day and update my Facebook status from a box, but that was okay because I was able to convince my friends that I was being productive. But the only thing being productive was my poor daily habits, my daily rituals. So I began to change everything around me, and I began to change my marketing plan and my business plan, and things began to.
And the life of an
change.
entrepreneur began to develop, and I want to share that story.
Sure.
Coming back from the break, just an amazing story of inspiration, how you take a negative and turn it into a positive here with Mike Bosch, entrepreneur and speaker. And you can learn more about him over at mikeabosch.com. You're currently listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tile, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
And help build you a strategy to get you there. It's not about chasing stock market returns. It's about chasing your dreams and a belief in a better way. Call us now at 800-395-4279 for your free, no-obligation review. It'll take about an hour, but I believe we can help you for a lifetime. Call us now at 800-395-4279 or visit us online at thehardwoodway.com. Believe in better. We certainly do.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
Call now, 800-908-0586, 800-908-0586.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Courtney Campbell Causeway remains closed in the eastbound direction towards Tampa. That's causing big delays on the southbound Bayside Bridge, jammed from Gulf to Bay to Almerton. Howard Franklin slow from the Pinellas County side to Tampa. Also a crash in Palm Harbor, southbound US 19 at County Road 39. One on the southbound Veterans near Waters, and southbound 75 near Big Bend, overturned vehicle there. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abraham Son Uderick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Robitussin. Robitussin soothes your throat and delivers fast, powerful cough relief. Available in Robitussin DM Max, Robitussin 12-Hour Cough Relief, and Robitussin CF Max Severe Multi-Symptom. Robitussin, because it's never just a cough.
Winds Weather Center forecast, the high today into the mid-70s, a bit warmer inland and south. We'll see more sunshine today. Still some scattered clouds. Upper 50s, near 60 for the low tonight. Seeing those upper 70s back on Friday and into the weekend, low 80s. Rain chance holding off till Monday. Impact Radio 1250 Winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Winds WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business, each weekday morning at 8 a.m. here on 1250 Winds WHNZ. And as always, you can learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com. Also, the show has expanded to include a sixth show each week. That show airs Sunday mornings at 5 a.m. on 970 WFLA, where I and my co-host Frank Cotto of the Lincoln Lending Group talk all about real estate, mortgages, taxes, insurance, anything and everything related to real estate on That Business Show, the Real Estate Edition, which again is an extension of this brand and gets back to my roots in real estate, which is what I do every single day. So if I can help you buy or sell real estate, I am a resource to help you get that done. A few ways to get me. You can pick up the phone and give me a call, 813-760-8516, or you can send me an email, jamie@tampabayradio.com, and we do have a contact form over on the Tampa Bay Radio site as well. Just click on contact across the menu bar. Currently in studio with Mike Bosch, a professional speaker and entrepreneur, and you can learn more about him at mikeabosch.com. Mike, you're sharing this great story of, being, addicted to drugs and alcohol and, making the transition after hearing this inspirational quote from Morgan Freeman, of all people, in Shawshank Redemption: get busy living or get busy dying. And it inspired you to change your life. And now you're living the life of an entrepreneur, owner of a couple of companies. But talk to me about those first days in business. How did you, what was it like being a business professional after being an addict for so many years?
Well, it was very difficult. My sales were not growing, and I was not growing.
What was your first line of work? What were you doing back then?
Well, I went to work. I went back to college, and I ended up with a position with a plastics manufacturer that made food packaging. And when we moved to Florida from Atlanta, I started my own brokerage firm. But I quickly realized that, my sales were not growing. People were not buying my product. Nobody was following me. And I knew I had to change, but how? I really didn't know. So I began changing everything around me. I changed my marketing plan. I changed my business cards. I changed my products. I was changing everything, and nothing was working. And it wasn't until a few years later that I really needed to change me. I needed to change. I needed to become more persuasive. I needed to have more people following me. I needed to be in front of people and allowing myself to persuade them in a sense to where I was valuable to them. And I wasn't just there to sell, to sell my product in general. And I was doing the same thing day in and day out. It was just building spreadsheets and emailing things out, and kind of takes me back to this really cool story. It's about this guy. He goes to work one day, and he's with his coworkers, and he's in the lunchroom. And he opens up his lunchbox, and he says, "Dag nabbit, not another PB&J sandwich." Coworker next to him, he says, "Hey, dude, take it easy, man. Just have your wife pack you something different." The guy looks at him like he's crazy. He says, "I'm not married. I pack my own lunch."
Right.
And that sounds absolutely crazy, but how many of us, including me, pack the same crap every day? And then we get frustrated when we're not growing to where we feel we should be or we actually are. So, it's really difficult to change patterns because we're creatures of habit. When you're doing things day in and day out, it's very difficult to take a step back and say, okay, I'm doing the same thing over and over and nothing's working. We don't think like that. Mm-hmm. We just try to do something different to make it work. We're all about us.
So what did you do to make the changes, or did you find a mentor, or did you go to a certain training course that, taught you how to maybe interact better with consumers from a professional standpoint? How did you make that change then? How did you find the right formula?
I was watching YouTube videos. I was trying to find professional people who were highly successful, Steve Jobs, different people like that. And I came across the guy, and he was doing network marketing, multi-level marketing, and he was a really, really good speaker. And he had said he was failing. And he said what changed him was I looked at where I was today, and I knew where I wanted to be. What needed to change to get me from here to there? Mm-hmm. And he figured that out. And that was really powerful for me because I knew I was not where I wanted to be. And in order for me to get to where I wanted to be, what needed to change? And I had already changed a lot of the bad things that was keeping me from doing anything in life. So I said, this can be done. A lot of people don't know this either, but I was over 300 pounds. So this little steps that I took also helped me to lose about 100 pounds.
Did you gain weight after going off of addiction?
Yes. I turned that into a food addiction.
Yeah, it's a common thing that happens to addicts is they go to food to replace them.
Which is that's a good problem to have.
Better than better drugs, but it's still a problem nonetheless. But go ahead. So you were 300 pounds, so you also knew you had to lose weight now. Yeah. So you've lived quite the turbulent life here so far.
And that was the same thing. I knew I didn't want to be 300 pounds. I knew I wanted to be 200, but what needed to change for me to get, from 300 to 200? So that took quite an evaluation to figure out, and that was a learning curve. I really had to understand patterns and how I was going about doing that and what I was failing, what wasn't working.
And so YouTube videos were, just listening to different motivational speakers and just speakers in general was kind of a catalyst for getting you back on track at that point, would you say then?
Yeah, that and, something really unique happened to me. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. And I was at an Atlanta Braves game one day, and you've probably seen this before, but the Jumbotron's on, and you got all the people around you dancing, and they're trying to get on the screen.
And they flashed you up there, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
I'm never going to.
That was a big fat guy up there, and that was embarrassed on national TV. I thought that's where that story was going.
I'm on the kiss cam.
Go ahead.
No, but they were, I was watching the opposing team. When the opposing team's out there warming up, the first baseman throws the ball to the third baseman, and he threw the ball to the shortstop, and the shortstop caught it underneath his legs, and he flipped it up behind his head, and he caught it with his bare hand, and he threw a strike to first base, and everybody infield's pointing at him. They're all laughing. They're having this great time. And I thought to myself, how cool is that guy's having so much fun doing what doing what he loves, and he's making millions of dollars. I couldn't imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I? Why can't I imagine that? What can I do? How can I do it? What can I change to do that? What am I so scared of? And fear was one of the things that was keeping me from doing. As humans, we're naturally wired for the uncertainty. I talked about that little box in our head, and that doesn't like uncertainty. We're naturally wired for fear because fear is the unknown. And we don't like the unknown because we don't know the outcome, and we're not comfortable with that. So I knew immediately that, that had to change. I had to. You have to take risk. As a baseball player, if you're not swinging the bat, you're never going to get a hit. So I had to remove the fear, and that was very difficult. I mean, fear is, it's a pretty powerful thing. Now I don't know if you're, have any kids or if you've ever been to a Little League baseball game, but it's a really great experience. You get out of the car and you hear the ding of the bat. You can kind of smell the dirt and the cheering from the fans. And my son's 11. He's always played baseball, and he played at a high level because he's played rec ball. He's 11 years old now, and now the big term is travel ball. Mm-hmm. Every cheerleading, they all got travel ball. I think there's even a travel ball t-ball team.
Mm-hmm.
And when he realized that there was better competition, he really began to struggle at the plate. And when it was his time to bat, he left confidence on the bench. And he'd get in the batter's box and he would strike out. And on the way home, I'd say, what's going on? What's going on, Noah? And he would say, Dad, I just don't know. As soon as I step into the batter's box, my hands start shaking and my heart pounds. I'm starting to sweat. And he couldn't control it. But let me ask you a question, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
If he had the decision to step in that batter's box, do you think he would have?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
So in business, we have that freedom. So how many times have we passed a prospect because we had the freedom to and did not put the turn signal on?
Yeah.
And pull in and see that account.
Yeah.
I know for me it was a lot. And that was I was sort of in the same boat as that because I had the freedom to pass. But I learned one day that what if I don't? What if I don't stop by? What if we have to live,
Yeah, and today, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, owner of a couple of companies. You're a speaker, and all this. It's also you have an interesting story about how you found your love of speaking. It was through a stand-up comedy, something that I also had a stint with several years ago. But I got to take a quick break. But coming back from the break, I want to finish up the discussion with Mike Bosch about where he is today, and also we'll talk a little stand-up comedy and reminisce about the past and what it's like to be up on stage when you're in front of people and trying to make them laugh. If you're a speaker speaker, there is no other greater thrill than making people laugh, and there is no other greater embarrassment than getting up there and them not laughing too. So we can both speak from experience with that when we come back. Currently talking to, again, Mike Bosch, professional speaker and entrepreneur, and learn more about him, MikeABosch.com. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Tampa Bay Roof Killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Eastbound Courtney Campbell Causeway has been reopened, so if you're in Clearwater, you can head towards Tampa on the causeway. You will still find some delays, though, near the big bridge because the right lane is still blocked there. Because it was closed for so long, southbound Bayside Bridge seen very heavy traffic from Gulf to Bay into Roosevelt and Almerton, and Howard Franklin Bridge very slow from the Pinellas County side into Tampa. See traffic problems, call the entry firm of Abrahamson, Utica, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. 20 years ago, when my mom had lung cancer, she didn't have many choices. But today, you do. If you've been diagnosed with lung cancer, please visit standuptocancer.org/lungcancer to learn more.
Today, a mix of sun and clouds and warmer than usual, high 78. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 61. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and even warmer, high 80.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Each weekday morning at 8 a.m. here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Learn more about the show at TampaBayRadio.com. In studio with Mike Bosch, entrepreneur and professional speaker. Learn more about him, MikeABosch.com. And Mike, before we get over to talk a little bit about comedy and where you're at today, I mean, you had a great story about being fearful, about stepping into that batter's box. But how does one go from being fearful to not being fearful anymore?
Well, it's a unique story. In the summer of 2001, my wife was granted an opportunity to attend the PhD program at Georgia Tech. So I was told we were moving to Atlanta, and it would be great for us. So we moved to Atlanta, and the goal was that she would begin school, and before seeking a job, I would begin fixing up this little 2-story condo that we had bought. It needed some updating. And I began to clean up, and she started the fall semester in 2001. We sort of got into this routine. She'd begin to get ready for school, and I'd go downstairs and cook some eggs. And I had this little 19-inch TV. Maybe you had a TV in your kitchen, and spaghetti sauce all stuck this side of it. And I turned it on, and I was sizzling some eggs. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I walked over to the bottom of the steps, and I looked up, and I said, "Hey, hon, the eggs are just about ready. And come on down." I said, "It looks like a helicopter that clipped a building in New York or something." So she peeked her head around the corner. Her hair was all in a towel, looked like kind of a turban kind of thing. And she came down, and we began to eat our food, holding our plates, watching this little TV in the kitchen. And we witnessed the second plane going into the tower. And I don't know if, Jamie, if you knew where you were or got the news of 9/11. I think most people do, but I will never, ever forget how we locked eyes when we saw that second plane come in. It was a look as, even though New York was 800 miles away, it was almost as if we had just escaped death. And I began at that time to realize that any day could be your last day, especially in these times we live today. I mean, you have to live every minute for every day because it can be gone. So I began to convince myself through my subconscious mind that we have to treat every day special. We have to, it's not what could happen, it's what if it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And that's how I began to transform, by looking at fear as my friend, not as my enemy.
Wow, great story there. Tell me where you're at today. You're the owner of a couple of companies. Tell me real quick, where are you at today, your business and stuff today?
Well, my speaking business, I've been about a year now. I've joined lots of networking groups. It's growing. It's you got to get your name out there. It's a little difficult. So if you're a business owner out there and you want to hear a good speaker, I'm here. But also, when I moved to Atlanta, I began food packaging. I'm a broker, and I represent manufacturers who make custom food packaging for bakeries and, various food processors.
Very cool. I mean, it's a great story of, coming from addiction and to being an entrepreneur, successful speaker. Now, you found your love for speaking, though, through stand-up comedy. How did this come about?
Well, when I was selling the food packaging and also sell trash bags, food service disposable is really my business. And Jamie, I can't get real excited about being in front of salespeople talking about trash bags.
Right.
I had to add some humor into it. And after, meeting after meeting, I kept having people come up and they're like, "Man, you're really funny. You should try comedy." And I went to a couple of local comedy clubs and I wrote a script and I was all excited, but, I stunk. I did impersonations pretty good, and that was funny. But when you start getting into the meat of it, it was like, oh. And then when you see people that have their blank looks on their face, and I think
I know that feeling. No, I know that feeling.
And then once then your heart starts pounding, and then you're like, oh crap, what do I do from here? And knowing my background too, being at bars at nighttime was probably not a really good idea for me. And I began giving testimonies. Tony Dungy Foundation through a gentleman I've met, and when I began giving my testimony to high school students, and it
Yeah,
hit
so
me.
you did this after your bout with alcohol. So yeah, it must have been a challenge to go into a comedy club and be surrounded by alcohol.
Sure.
And then plus being a comedian, one of the ways I prep myself is I'd have a few beers before I'd get up on stage, and it would relax. Yeah, it would
Liquid
relax you.
courage.
Hey, some of these guys
liquid
were
courage.
like pounding, gin and tonics. And,
Yeah.
it's like that's the only way they could make it happen.
Yeah, for people that don't know, I mean, a lot of comedians are alcoholics.
Oh, They're
hammered.
It's a tough business.
It's a rough lifestyle.
But yeah, I did it for about a year. I was on stage 60, 70 times or so, and it's been about 10 years. And I'll get back up on stage again, maybe do a little bit of time, But it's a craft. It's nothing like any other experience in speaking there is, and I had a lot of fun doing it. When did you do this? About 10 years or so ago?
No, the comedy was about 2 years ago.
Oh, really? It's been fairly recent.
It's been fairly new, and it's all about timing. I think the jokes that I built were good, but you had to have that little pause so they could actually absorb.
There's more to just the material. You could have great material, but
Sure.
have a horrible delivery, horrible timing, horrible inflection, and there's just a horrible presence. Or you could have one and the other and not have something else. And I had some good material, I thought, but I always had poor presence because when I speak, I come across very professional and businessy, and I don't have that goofiness to myself.
Right.
And so I was better probably behind the scenes writing for somebody else. But had so much fun with it. Went to comedy writing workshops and had a blast. And the nights that I did kill, so to speak, there is no better thrill than making a room full of 100-plus people laugh. But then again, there is no bigger embarrassment than they all sit there doing
nothing. It doesn't
nothing.
count when the mafia is holding up the whole lobby, though. Oh, that was a good joke?
That was a good one. There you go.
Oh, my bad. I was hoping to tell a bad joke so I could say, see,
Well,
good
it was
example.
bad. We're just being polite. 'Cause
I
we're on the
actually, I actually got on stage for the first time, though, as a result of Last Comic Standing. I auditioned for them back in 2000. I think it was 2004 when they came to Tampa. I'd never been on a comedy stage, and I had some good material, and I thought, I'm going to go up there and do that. Stood in line for 7 hours at the Tampa Improv. Finally got into the studio at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Got about a minute into my routine after they're throwing people out in like 10 seconds. And I was standing in front of the producers for Jay Leno's show. Those are the judges, Jay Leno's producers. And they stopped me after
Talk
about a
the
minute.
frying pan.
They stopped me after about a minute and said, Jamie, how long you been doing this? And I said, well, it's my first time on stage. And like, wow, they were kind of impressed that this was my first time. And they said, well, you're doing a great job, but obviously you ain't got material for us. We're looking for, headliners to, or mid-carders to move up to headliner status. That's kind of the format of the show. And that was my catalyst to, doing some stand-up comedy. And I did it for a year after that. So
I'm willing to bet you felt relieved after that, though.
Oh, it was a great story. And as a matter of fact, my first night was in front of Al Romas, was the headliner at Side Splitters, and it was one of my best nights ever. And the headliner even called me out during the show when he was doing his thing and said,
shout out.
Yeah, I was sitting in front of her. He said, hey, you were that open micer. He's like, you did a great job tonight, man. So stuff like that. I mean, those are just some.
And then he didn't destroy you?
No. He was a class
That's
act.
what I would expect,
So, well, we got to wrap up this show. Mike, I greatly appreciate you coming in studio today, sharing with us a great inspirational story of success. Mike, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me. It's this radio stuff. It's a lot of fun because you don't have a bunch of eyes staring at you.
It is. It's like
just
think nobody's listening to you, and it makes it nice and easy.
We never told him about the camera that's right in front of him.
Oh, okay. Well, now it made it.
That's Mike Bosch, professional speaker and entrepreneur. Learn more about him, MikeABosch.com. And you've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.